Welcome everyone to another Affinity Designer tutorial, an 80s poster design idea for your own projects. Up next. So inside Affinity Designer with a new document, I have an 80s text layer since we are creating a project idea as such. Now I did spend a bit of time searching for a relevant font. So in this case, I went for the Hauser font family, and it's a free font to use. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go inside the edit menu, and I will duplicate this text layer just in case I need to go back to the original. And then I will tap inside the text studio, and inside the positioning, I'm just going to increase the tracking so I create a bit of a breathing space between those letters. And then, of course, I will go ahead and center this into the canvas. And I'm ready now to go back to the edit menu. And in this case, we're going to convert all of this text layer to curves. Once I do that, looking inside the Layer Studio, we can see that we have a group. So back on the edit menu, I'll go ahead and ungroup all these. And now I can focus on these individual curves. So in this case, what I would do is I'm going to create a custom gradient. So for that, I would tap on the Fill tool, and I will go ahead and tap and drag to create a gradient with two stops. And at the bottom of the context toolbar, we have all these options. For example, we can choose the type. In this case, I'm going to go for a linear gradient. Great. So let's go ahead and actually create some additional color stops and also give colors to that as well. So I will tap on this first gradient stop, and inside the Color Studio, I have already created my own swatches. So I will give this color for this stop, and for this stop, I will give the same color. And then I will add two additional color stops. I will give them also this color. And then right in between here, I'm going to add two additional color stops. So for this one, I will give this color, but for that one here, I will give it a white color. All right. So I'm going to be using something along those lines. All right. And I'm playing around with the fall off of these two colors. And by the way, you can see that we have this midpoint. This midpoint here basically adjusts the spread of the colors. In this case, I'm very happy the way it is. Just going to keep it as is. Okay, so I've got that. Let's go to the Color Studio. I will go ahead and give a specific color for the stroke. But in this case, we need to have a stroke. So I'm going to up this to 10 points. There we go. And this is what I like. This is the gradient that I like. So feel free to play around and create your own gradients. So we created our own custom gradient. The question is, how are we going to apply this custom gradient to the rest of these curves? So in this case, I will go ahead and tap on the FX icon right here. And now we are inside the Layer FX Studio. And at the very bottom, I'm going to tap on the styles. These are the styles that Affinity Designer provides for us. In this case, since we are creating our own custom gradient, we're also going to create our own custom category. So for that, I will tap on the panel preferences and then create my own category here. Now, by default, we get this generic name, which is unnamed. So tap back on the panel preferences to rename the category, and I will go ahead and rename this to my styles. Hit enter return. And then with the move tool, I will tap to select this curve here. And then inside the panel preferences, I will add style from selection. And here it is. So all I have to do is inside the Layer Studio, I will select those three additional curves here, and then back on the FX Studio and inside my own custom category, styles category, I'm just going to tap on that. And right now we have also the same style applied to the rest of these curves. Great. So what are we going to do next? Well, I will select this curve as well, and I will tap on the edit menu to duplicate those. Then I will tap on these curves that sit under the 80s text. These are identical, but in this case, first of all, I will remove any kind of stroke here, and for the fill color, I will go ahead and use just a solid black color. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have like a drop shadow. So I'm going to offset that, and I'm going to do this inside the Transform Studio, and I will change the position on the X and on the Y. All right, and see what works for me. Something along those lines. So for this next step, what I'm going to do is I will toggle off the visibility of all these curves here inside the Layers Studio, and I will grab the rectangle tool and I'll create a rectangle all across, like so. And then inside the Layer Studio, I will tap and hold and bring this at the bottom of the layer stack. And inside the Layers options, I will rename this to BG for background. And in this case, I will just give a solid color for this specific rectangle. All right, great. So we've got that. I will go ahead and inside the edit menu, I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm just going to basically kind of cut it in half because I want this second rectangle to have a gradient applied to it. So for that, again, I will grab the fill tool and I will tap and drag to create a gradient here. Just make sure again at the bottom of the context toolbar, choose the linear gradient. For the first color stop, I will use this color. And for the second color stop, I will go ahead and use this color. All right. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the spread of the colors by basically moving this color stop a little higher up and perhaps move the midpoint. All right. So I'm going after this for now. So I've got that. Let's see how it looks all together with the rest of these text layers. Great. Everything looks great. So what's next? Well, the next one I'm going to do is I will grab the ellipse tool and I will create a circle, which I'm going to move this in the center. There we go. Again, let me go ahead and toggle off the visibility of these layers so I don't get distracted with what I'm going to do now. So this is one thing. It doesn't matter what color. Right now, I'm just going to use this color. That will change, okay? And I'm saying this because we're going to create some additional things here. So I will grab the rectangle tool and I will create some rectangular shapes here. Just going to use this color. Again, the color doesn't matter right now. What matters is that we'll create some of these. Okay, so I'm going to create duplicates, another duplicate, another duplicate. All right, so I have all these straight segments, rectangles. I will select them inside the Layers Studio, right? And then inside the Transform Studio and inside the alignment options, I will go ahead and space those vertically. Great. So let me just adjust them a little bit. Then inside the Layers Studio, I will also select the ellipse. And then inside the edit menu, I will go ahead and use one of the Boolean operations under the geometry. And that will be the subtract Boolean operation. There we go. See that? This is what I was going for. Now in this case, I will grab again the fill tool and I will create again another gradient. I'll make sure that this is a linear gradient. And for this color stop, I'm just going to use this yellow color, which probably I'm going to bring this a little lower. Okay, let's also look at the rest of these curves here. And I will tap and hold to bring this under all of these numbers. All right, let's see how this looks. That looks pretty good, right? And perhaps for this color stop, let me double check my work. I can actually use this color. I think I like this better. All right. All right, that looks good. Gonna go on. All right, that looks good. So we're gonna go to the last step and add some additional shapes. So for this last step of the Affinity Designer tutorial, I will go ahead and introduce some additional straight segments. So for that, I will tap on this circle. I'm going to bring this up a bit, so I can have a bit of breathing space at the bottom. I will tap to deselect everything, then I will grab the pen tool, and then I will create a straight segment across as such. Then I will switch to the node tool. I just want to make sure this is a straight segment, and it is. And for this straight segment, let's go ahead and give a specific color here. The stroke width remains to be 10 points. I'm very okay with that. But what is important here is that inside the Stroke Studio and looking at the pressure input box, I will create a custom pressure profile. And to form that, I would drag either a node downwards. This is the one node, and this is the other node. Of course, the line right now disappears. And then I will add an additional node right here in the center, which I will drag upwards to taper the stroke, right, according to the curvature of the graph. And this is what I was going for. What I'm going to change here is, instead of just to have a fill color, I will grab the fill tool here, and I will also apply a gradient to the stroke. So for that, I will tap on this icon here, and I will use, for the type, linear gradient. I will tap to create an additional color stop and give it this color. Let's deselect everything. Let's look at the result. And this is what I was going for. Now I'm going to bring this up just a bit, just make sure it sits in the middle. And I will create some few duplicates here. All right. So I will grab this one, just bring this in a little bit. Grab this one and bring this one a little bit inside. Inwards, and this one as well. And this is the look and feel that I was going for an 80s type of poster. I would like to thank each one of you for visiting my channel, watching the inspiring lectures and project tutorials. Do not forget to subscribe and share the knowledge.